reading it out, but I don't want to miss anything that I've written. Okay, so Kirklees Youth Council is one of the best things that I ever decided to do. We're a non-partisan group of young people from across Kirklees who as a whole are interested in primarily involving young people in the political process. We're also a completely open and diverse organisation that encourage anyone to come and talk at our meetings. Throughout 2015 we rolled out an educational project to some secondary schools in Kirklees. The project mainly focused on informing young people about local decision making. During this we also gathered information about young people, their concerns and what the barriers they thought between them and the political process were. To conclude the project, we set up youth forums to participate in schools. Political education is something that I'm very passionate about, as I believe that, and I'm sure you'll agree, even in places where may not be apparent, politics is the stem of everything. Politics and how the political world changes will no doubt hugely affect the young people in the country and denying them the education they need to participate in discussion, inform others, and it may also be denying them the chance of, when the time comes, voting with a clear, informed and non-biased decision behind that choice. The fact that children and young people throughout their educational life are not taught the fundamental basics of how our country runs and how they're affected by the decisions that people make for them is highly distressing to me. To make it worse, young people then criticised in the media when the percentage of young people voting once again just isn't what it should be. This leads people into the trap of thinking that young people aren't voting simply because they don't care, which is not true. I'm not saying that every young person I've ever met or spoken to is as passionate about politics as I am, but I've never met anyone who didn't care about how they were going to be affected by laws and regulations enforced onto them. The idea that young people don't care about politics has caused some politicians to give up on gaining the trust and seeking the vote of young people, simply because they don't believe it will help them. If every person in the 18 to 24 category voted, there is no way that wouldn't impact the overall outcome. Work by the Eurobarometer suggested that young British adults are among the least engaged in the political process, when comparing with their peers across Europe, and they're the least likely to be on the electoral register than any of the other age groups, which is terrifying. I can't sit here and preach I'm fed up that I don't have a say, and I'm annoyed that I can't vote at 16 when I can get a part-time job, enlist in the army and even legally drive before I get a say on who runs the country. But I can say that throughout my work with the Youth Council, the projects that we've done, and engaging in conversations with people that I know, I've learned that my opinions are shared. Young people don't see themselves as able to make a difference simply because they aren't taught of the real power they could have, and they aren't taught of how their decisions can impact other people's and how their voice can actually change things. Hold on. Now some of you will be thinking that if young people really cared so much, then they have access to information across the internet that will help them make an informed decision and the knowledge that they need. However, the information that young people need has to be unbiased, decluttered of jargon and relevant to them. Young people need to know about things that are happening that affect them. They need to be told what the terms of politicians' PR actually mean. Bringing political education into schools will provide young people with vital information that is needed in everyday life. Young people should know about which party is doing the best for them and which parties to avoid. They should know the names of the people who make decisions on their behalf, whether it's locally or nationally. Young people have a right to know about political matters and have a right to have an opinion they can argue behind. Depriving them of that, even if not intentionally, is not okay. And to use something I've said many times before, in 20 years' time when people are sat at home complaining about the lack of good quality politicians who care about the issues that they themselves care about, yet when their child asks who the person on the telly is, they get told it's just grown-up stuff, then they are part of the problem. As simple as it may seem, it's true that if we don't inspire and create passionate young politicians now, then we won't have any passionate and inspired politicians in the future. Politics is a major part of everyday life, even if not an obvious way. Social politics will undoubtedly change people's lifestyles and upbringing simply because society and its core concepts operate around the political systems that we've created. I understand that some of you may think that political education is wasted in schools, but it's just another way in the educational system that stops personal development and individuality. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, and one day you may be reading through a list of policies and see an opinion that was formed in a classroom when debating on an issue that they thought was important. We want good, honest and better politicians for this country. We want to give the next generation of them a head start.